in there with you a couple of times. I thought he was just filling in. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Deep Drop. It is 2025 all of a sudden. Luke McCredden here. Adam Ring. Happy New Year to you, my friend, and welcome back to the Deep Drop.
That's how you start a new year.
That's how you start.
The fanfare, the horns, the clap. Bring it on.
Can we just hit that?
Run it again.
Yes. I could
That's
do that all
starting
night.
2025 right. It's exciting to be back. It's felt like forever since we've done one of these.
It's felt like a decent break, I've got to say.
Has.
I enjoyed a break, I'm not going to lie.
It was good. It's been pretty rough going back to work, though.
That's not the easy part. This I've been looking forward to, my friend. Jesus, a lot's happened over the break, and I've been hanging to get back in touch with everyone out there listening. Welcome and Happy New Year to you all. What a summer we're having.
It's been a great summer. The fishing's been unbelievable on all fronts. It's been warm.
Yes.
It's been proper warm. We've had some wind. We've had some calm, so I'm not really going to bang on too much about the weather because I think overall it's been good. And as we record the first episode for 2025, us lonely Victorians down here, Luke, are just delving into kingfish and bluefin tuna, hitting the straps at exactly the same time.
And the right
locally.
time. The right time.
Yeah, just as everyone goes back to work.
But what a time. It's the oceans have been calm, the fish have been chewing, we've been frothing, the beers have been fresh and cold, and mate, I'm loving it. I'm loving what I'm seeing at the moment, and it's not just offshore stuff, it's inshore, it's bloody estuaries, it's, in the bays, it's everything.
Now, you mentioned something just then that's critically important.
Yeah.
Now, you said beers are flowing.
Beers
now,
are
Luke,
flowing.
to you, I just want to show you what I'm drinking this evening.
Please.
Because I want to cheers to you.
What do you got going on?
Well, this is a Cold Stream lager, but not just any Cold Stream lager.
Oh, wow.
They printed a Rapala can for Christmas this year, which
That's
is brilliant.
neat.
And do you want to know how and why that this is the best year? Hang on, let me start that again. This is how excited I am about this. This is how excited I am about this. Do you know why this is the greatest beer of all time?
Why?
Because it fits in this.
Oh, yes, it does. Yes, it does. Look at that.
Now, it's the best beer I've ever had in my life. And I know for a fact now that this beer is going to stay cold for the duration of this podcast. So, Luke, I want to cheers to you. Happy New Year, my brother.
Cheers.
And we are back for 2025 with some big plans. What do you got there?
What do
you got there?
Let me just... Oh, did you hear that? No, look, I'm just knocking back a Great Northern. The Super Crisp. I like the mids. I don't mind it at all. I can have 27 of them and feel all right the next day. So,
well, apparently I can only have a sip of one and can't finish a sentence. So maybe I might have to switch over to the mids next week. That's how you start 2025.
And you're
Welcome,
right.
everybody.
It's fresher and tastier in the Deep Drop stubby holder, which what a good segue. This is us not planning anything, but just segues just come and go as they please. Those stubby holders are available, Adam, at thedeepdrop.au. As are a cap. In fact, get it as a combo. We'll even cover the freight. What?
Just do it. Listen, we've spoken about the stubby holders in the past. They do legitimately make every drink taste better. Listen, if you want to sit just a nice bottle of water in there, I bet you it'd be the best water you've ever had in your life.
Yeah, it'd be
Just
the most
saying.
refreshing. Yeah, the most
And
hydrating water you've ever had.
There's no better way to enjoy a nice cold beverage out of your nice green stubby holder, shielding and shading the sun off your eyes.
Yes, exactly.
With a Deep Drop trucker hat. So jump on over to the website, thedeepdrop.au, just hit the merch button, grab yourself a combo and enjoy the rest of summer because I think there's plenty of it to come.
Oh, well said.
I'm excited, Luke. I am so excited to be back.
I haven't seen you this up and about for a while. I did catch up with you briefly a couple of times over the break, which was great. I know that you've done a bunch of fishing. I've done a little bit here and there. We'll probably cover off on a bit of that later on, but it was good to see you over this neck of the woods. You're back into it now. I'm back into it now from a work perspective, but Jesus, there's some fishing coming up for the both of us, which I can't wait to document through the Deep Drop podcast, to be honest, and socials. And it's probably not a bad other little segue there, just to get across to Instagram and TikTok and YouTube, because we're going to be punching out a fair bit of content across those social channels this year, Adam.
Yes, big plans again. I said 2025. Look, we did spend some time together, and it was awesome because it was one of the things that we'd spoken about last year. The year came and went so fast,
out of control.
So did a bit of fishing down your way, which is exciting. I haven't fished much down there. So that was really cool. But more importantly, we did get to sit down. We get to talk about the deep drop. We got to plan some stuff out for 2025. We both have some amazing trips coming up, which you've already spoken about. So stay tuned for that because I think she's going to be a bit of an epic year.
It's going to be a big one already. I was looking at what you've got lined up in the coming weeks. I was having a look at my sort of itinerary for the next few weeks, and I thought, shit, there's a bit on already, and it's only half a month in. So, which is cool. But as I said, over on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, you know, come and follow the journey, I think is my point, because there'll be some cool stuff to check out. Speaking of Instagram, thanks everyone for playing along at home, because you know I love getting sent a video to react to, Adam.
Oh, there's been some belters over the Chrissy break.
Some classics. I've enjoyed every single one of them.
What was your favourite? Just a question without notice. What was your favourite?
Can I whip out the device just to have a quick look to refresh my memory?
Quick scan. I've got one that stands out to me. So while you're having a search, there was nothing more awkwardly satisfying than watching little old mate in his boat with the weirdest lure of all time catch an octopus and proceed to get it in and then just repeatedly try and bite its face.
What was up with that?
I don't know, but the second greatest thing, because the video was the best. The second greatest thing was a comment from someone who participates in this practice.
No, which is cool.
Saying that it's something that's common. And you know what? Bring it on. Somehow I don't think dispatching an octopus the easiest way is by just trying to bite where it's trying to bite you back. But you know what? If it's effective, it's effective.
But the thing is, if it was the easiest way, I would go, yeah, sweet, hats off too. But it took him about 6 bites at this thing to actually...
It's trying to grab his face. He's having to drag it off his face.
I know.
They're almost having a bite off. I thought that was very entertaining.
That was pretty fun. I liked the one recently that was when I first got sent. I'm like, all right, cool. It's a guy's called a dolphin fish. It turns out it was a really good sized dolphin fish. The gaff the guy sunk into it was on like a flexible sort of rubber pole, which was cool in itself. Then proceeds to land this in their little boat, which, as it pulls it over the side, lands this big dolly on top of a stack of yellowfin tuna and other dolphin fish. And then looking closer, they're doing it on hand lines. Yeah. Like there's not a rod and reel in sight. And I'm just like, this is brilliant. And I love the shit that comes in. Not shit. I love the stuff that we get sent from all over the world. And I think some of the international stuff is probably the most entertaining. But yeah, there's some crackers out there.
There's there's so many ways to participate in fishing. There's so many wacky techniques. I'm here for all of it because...
I thought you might have responded well to the one just recently. It might have been just a couple of days ago of the marlin. Actually, I think I originally saw it. Someone sent it to me from Black Pete's Instagram page that flicks that phone out of the guy's hand while he's trying to take it. And I referenced Dikembe Mutombo, respect.
Not in here.
Not up in here. Just that's wild. I mean, that's inches away from stabbing the guy through the fucking heart.
That's inches away from devastation. But it wasn't devastating, so it was funny. And I loved it.
So keep them coming is my point. I really enjoy it. It's a bit of fun. I think, it's just one of those things that's always a bit of fun to see and have a bit of a laugh and play along to. So that's on Instagram, the Deep Drop. Look for us, look for the bright green logo and get in touch. We've heard from plenty of you guys out there this holiday break, this summer, this Christmas break, and it's great that you're still in touch, and I hope you're back on board for episode 1 of 2025 ads because, Jesus Christ, it's going to be a good one. Now, I did think for anyone who's been along for the journey, particularly recently, management have been involved a bit. And I, love them or hate them. I know which camp you sit in, ads. But I just thought there was a bit of a situation late last year. Situation,
just a little bit.
Let's just, without, we don't want to say anything that
Go
we
back
shouldn't.
and listen if you're curious.
Go back and listen just before Christmas. But I thought we should do the right thing. It's a new year. We should reach out, touch base, and make sure management's okay and hopefully out of jail at this stage. If that doesn't give away too much. So, what are your thoughts on just giving him a quick buzz? Are you?
Oh, listen, if we have to, it's 2025.
I just think it'd be
I'm trying
nice.
to be a better person. I'll approach this with an open mind. Let's see if we can get off on the
All
right
right,
foot.
let's dial him in. Let's see if we can get a hold of management. But I appreciate your patience because I know that it's kind of not your jam normally to, get in touch with management. But I just, it's the right thing to do.
Let's see. We'll see.
Yeah, hello.
Hey, mate, how you going?
Yeah, not bad.
Good to hear from you. You're obviously out and about. I've called you on the mobile, so you're...
Mate, in the free world,
Yep.
it feels good, to be honest. It's been a pretty shitty couple of months, let me tell you that.
All right, well, it's good to hear from you. I'm glad you seem pretty up and about.
Yeah, I am.
How are you feeling about things this year? Are we gonna see you in the studio? Are you gonna be floating
Mate,
through?
I'll be honest, I'm fucking pumped about 2025, and I'm feeling really good about the deep drop. I'm going to get involved, and I want to be a big part of it for you and support you, Luke. So I was thinking, I reckon it's time we get you a permanent co-host to support you.
A co-host?
Yeah, someone who
What do
can
you mean?
host the show with you, just so you're not doing it on your own all the time.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Am I on mute?
No.
Like, my
You are
camera's
aware
working.
that Adam's here.
Who's that?
Adam.
Taking the piss?
Adam, the deep drop co-host.
Oh, the guy the tall guy that's been in there with you a couple of times. I thought he was just filling in for a bit while you needed an extra set of hands around the studio, lifting stuff.
Fill in from time to time. How long have you been listening to this podcast? You're sitting here telling us that you want to take to a new level for 2025. You've clearly only listened to 3 episodes because we're now 115 in and I've been here for every single one of them.
I think I know the deep drop. I don't think, I know what I'm talking about.
You've also been in the studio while Adam's been here, so I don't quite know
I
where
thought he
you...
was the coffee guy
Yeah.
doing coffee runs
Well, listen, let's
or cleaning toilets.
let's
or
leave it
something.
at that, and perhaps you can come on in and meet Adam again. I guess.
maybe.
I don't.
Anyway, I've got to go.
Oh, he's gone. Okay. Well,
That was awkward.
that was weird. Sorry about that, Ads. You are very well loved and respected here, so don't.
We might have to start off 2025 looking for new management, Luke. I'm
Maybe
not
that's
sure.
maybe
I'm
that's
not
what it
sure
is.
how long I can continue to work under these conditions.
I wasn't aware. I know that you and him had a tiff throughout the course of late last year. I didn't realise that he had no idea that you were a part of this show.
Listen, you know me well enough, okay? I'm a forgiving person.
You are.
But sometimes, listen, let's just say at this current point in time,
Yeah.
I'm leaning more towards fuck him than let's give him a second chance.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'll sit on it for a week.
Yeah.
He can go and think about what the bloody hell's going on.
Okay.
And he can contact me when he's ready.
All right.
'cause I'm not ready right now.
All right, but you're okay. You're good. You're okay. You to keep going. Like this hasn't thrown you off too much.
I'm going to double down and make this the greatest episode that he's ever heard.
Perfect. All right. Well, that was weird, but it's good that he's out and about. Well, I guess now that he's not in the big house, we'll probably see him floating through here from time to time. So,
Well, they
anyway.
clearly gave him a lobotomy while he was in there because he doesn't really know what's going on in the real world.
How old do you think he is? Like, genuine question. I don't know. Like, he's getting on a bit.
Luke, I don't even know his name,
No.
let alone his age. To me, he's just management, and
Yeah.
that's what he'll be.
That's what
and
he's in
that's
my
what he'll
phone
always
as.
be.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
you know what? He could be 45. He could be 65. I
Yeah.
really don't know.
Yeah. Nah. Fair.
I think
All right.
he's lived life pretty hard.
Yeah, it sounds it, doesn't it? All right. No, well, fair enough. Whatever. Hey, where are you at? Where do you sit with New Year's resolutions? I just hear about all this shit all the time. I kind of, and I don't mean to sound, Grinchy or Scroogey about this, but I get weird about this New Year's resolution stuff. It's just, where are you at with it? And do
No,
you
I'm a
do
little
it? Do you make one?
No, I'm a little bit in the same camp as you. I don't really buy into the resolution thing, though. Well, the reason is because they always sound like a great idea at the time,
Yeah.
and it's like most things. The theory's there,
Yeah.
and you're like, okay, that sounds pretty easy. And then within 15 minutes of walking out the door of coming up with the resolution, life goes, nah.
Nah.
It's not going to go down like that. So
It's got to be something to do with the fact that you're giving yourself 12 months to do something. It's like 12 months. Like, holy shit. Like, do you know what I mean?
You also either give yourself something that's way too hard to achieve in
Yeah.
that time, or it's way too easy. So you tick it off in the first, 3 days of January and go, how bloody good's this? I've nailed the resolutions. We're not even in February yet.
I'm gonna drink 6 beers tomorrow. Done.
Yeah, tick it off. So no, listen, I haven't, but it's probably because I'm not disciplined enough to hold myself accountable for anything that I want.
Maybe.
I don't know. I just haven't got there with it. What about you? You're not really a resolution guy.
No, I'm not. But again, I find it odd that it's like you're setting yourself a 12-month goal. Like, I don't know. It would make more sense to me if it was a shorter time frame, or you know what I mean, or that was I don't know.
Well, okay. So let's do resolutions right. Because here at the Deep Drop, we not only come up with questions, but we come up with solutions and answers.
Yeah.
So here's what I propose. What if we come up with a list of resolutions? Now we're talking. Well, we don't even need to be talking fishing. But obviously this is a fishing podcast, so majority of them you think would be fishing orientated. How about every month you and I list something that we want to achieve this year in fishing? Now,
okay.
So that's not, we've only got 1 month to achieve all these things. They accumulate throughout the course of 12 months. So you and I can check in at the end of December, so our last show of 2025.
Right.
We can go back and recap every single one of the resolutions that we had per month of 2025 and how we went with them.
Scorecard.
So, a scorecard. Let's just see.
Right. Monthly resolutions.
Monthly resolutions.
This is what I'm talking about.
We
Heaps
don't have the
than
month to do it. We've just got 12 months worth of stuff we want to achieve because, listen, we're in a highly seasonal, you know what I mean? And I might not know what I want to do in the middle of June when it's cold, it's raining. I don't want to get out of bed in the morning because it's freezing, let alone go fishing.
But that's the
I
challenge.
feel as though that's the challenge. I think a resolution will get me fishing, but what do I want to do? I don't know, because it needs to kind of be achievable.
Okay. Well, I'm always up for a challenge. You know that.
Yeah.
A monthly resolution.
Monthly resolution.
I like that.
Every month.
We're halfway through January as we speak. So
let's start the year off right, and January's a gimme. So is there anything that you've done already that you can list for January's challenge, so we can start with a tick?
Well, I do actually, because I challenged myself just after New Year, just for a little squid bash locally, but I didn't want to go to the go-to colours of squid jigs that I would go to 99.9% of the time. I actually went out with a purpose to just use the most brightly obscure patterns and designs ever and catch some squid on that. So does that count?
Yeah, 100%.
Well, then tick Adam and I'm on the board.
Tick it off. Well done, Luke. Great start to 2025.
What about you?
Well, I actually achieved mine twice.
Oh, okay.
So
it's still only 1 point. It's still only 1 point.
Hear me out. So last year, you and I repeatedly tried to tee up a time to not even necessarily go fishing together, but just catch up. So for those that don't know, we live quite a distance apart. We're a couple hours apart. So my resolution for January was to catch up with you in person.
Oh.
We've caught up twice.
Okay.
I spent a couple of days with you. We went for a fish on both days, which was brilliant. We knocked over some deep drop stuff, and then I actually did a work run through to Geelong and nipped in to come and saw you there as well. So hey, tick it off. We wanted to spend more time. We wanted to get some deep drop stuff on paper and ready to go.
All right. So those playing along at home, the score is 1-1.
Great start.
I mean, that seems like a pretty good start, but I like this. All right. So throughout the year, every month, I suppose, the start of the month-ish, when the episode gets recorded.
Our first show of every month.
Of every month, we will set a new monthly resolution, and we'll go and have a crack to get it done. Okay.
We'll have our first show in February. We'll both give our February resolution. Then in the first week of March, we can recap how we went, how we're going with Feb, because we don't need to tick it off in that 1 month. It's just an accumulation of things.
Good.
And then we add the next one. So we're constantly adding and ticking off That's the plan as we progress through the year.
Is there a prize, Adam? Are we, if I get 10 of the 12 done and you get 8, is there some
There's
sort of...
definitely a prize.
Yeah.
There's definitely a prize.
Okay. Is it...
Definitely.
Yeah, all right. It's got to be...
Well, we'll work on the prize.
Okay.
We'll work on the prize because I think we could...
My mind went straight to alcohol. Yours is
Me
probably
too.
going to fishing gear.
No, mine was a combination of both, actually. So
right.
we'll do something like that. But how about, why don't we broaden this up? Broaden this to everybody listening. So obviously, at the start of each month, we will post what our resolution is. Mm-hmm. And we'll remind you as we go, so don't feel as though you need to remember this right now. But how about we release a clip of the pod of us announcing what our month's resolution is?
Yep.
In the comments of that video, everyone lists their resolution for that month.
Nice.
Then so we can all play this together.
We're all in it together.
Then as we update how we went on the whatever resolution we've got backlogged, all it needs to be is a 1 down or 2 down new resolution as we get into March, April, May, June. Play along. I think it's pretty cool because
that's brilliant.
I find with a little bit of extra purpose, it makes you broaden your thought process when fishing. Because I am one that gets stuck in doing the same thing the same way every single time I go fishing. I think this is going to help. We could all be better fishermen because of this.
This is good. The Deep Drop making fishermen better. That's going to be the new 2025 T-shirt, if you're wondering.
Love it. Keep an eye on the deepdrop.au.
I'll tell you what, if there's some solid, performances in the resolutions throughout the year, we'll have prizes.
We'll have prizes. We've got to work something out. So be honest.
You walked
and don't set the bar too low.
No, you walked into my sort of studio space the other day and there's piles of prizes that we could give.
I took some stuff, by the way, so you're a couple of prizes short.
No, I noticed it was a bit thinner. Thank you for that. That's fine. But yeah, so this is great. All right, so get involved. This is not just an Adam and Luke thing. This is very much a Deep Drop family, wider spread family thing. So you guys are on the water a lot collectively. So we'll be able to get some good resolutions going and hopefully tick some off. Hit the scoreboard.
It'll make us better fishermen, Luke. I'm positive.
I love this. Well done. Well, I'm all for a monthly resolution. A full year resolution? Nah.
Too hard.
Too hard basket. Adam, now I did just get a message through from management. I know that I won't get him back on. It's fine because it was awkward. But he said, make sure you play the new ad. And I thought, okay, I didn't realise we had another spono for this particular episode. Jet Skis R Us didn't sign on for... No, it's just the one app.
Yes.
So let's hear from the sponsors. Hey Brimfishers, you don't need to fish alone anymore. Come and explore Brimble, the latest matchmaking app for you, the brim fisherman. Brimble will match you with brim fishermen from all around the country. Who knows? There might be a brim fisherman waiting for you right next door. So come on, don't be shy now. Download Brimble and start searching for your soulmate. You'll never be lonely again with Brimble. Wow. Okay.
Fuck.
I mean, that's the way that people meet these days. I get it. It's.
I think I got movement. Like, that was a lot to take in.
I don't think anyone in 115 episodes would have expected that sort of saucy music to be on the show. But okay, cool. I mean, sure.
There's an app for everyone.
That's what I mean.
Apparently.
I mean, it's you're not meeting at pubs anymore.
No,
it's all online. Anyway,
I don't know where to go. I got nothing.
I was hoping I could throw to you just while I, sort myself out over here, but very good.
It's I don't have my phone on me, otherwise I'd be
Finding
creating a profile. Finding my best brim photos.
Yeah, what would your photo be? It'd just be you holding a brim.
That's
looking at it lovingly, like
Yeah, that's no. I'm looking for partners, Luke. I'm not, not just mucking about here.
Yeah.
Brimble. There you go.
Jesus, Brimble. I mean, hadn't heard of it.
Spono's a Spono, I guess.
Yeah, Spono. Yep. Thanks for paying. All right, we need to move on. There's all sorts of stuff happening. I'm pumped. I'm pumped about this year. There's going to be a lot happening. Ads, no doubt that you're going to have plenty of interesting feedback on the tackle that we see throughout the course of 2025. As last year was a big one too, I guess. But it's pretty cool that we're in a game where the tackle can keep evolving. Let's put it that way.
It's as far as the actual retail side of our industry goes, it's a little bit, I guess, quiet. We'll probably see. Actually, there are some companies that have some early year releases.
Yeah,
because I know we have a sales conference in February, but I think that'll be more for what's happening, mid year once we head to after. So,
look, I think traditionally there's kind of the, let's call it August, September is the release period for new product. Mate, I can tell you, basically from Feb, March, April on, there's some pretty exciting releases coming from all sorts of different suppliers and different product categories. So, which is cool. I think the days of having just a window of new product releases is almost not. It's just it's finished up a bit. There's still obviously, especially when it comes to global, there's obviously certain times that it sticks to, because it's like Rapala, for example. Some of the larger Japanese companies like Daiwa and Shimano are obviously at the hands of the global companies as to when they can release stuff. But there's a lot of
ICAST is a big date on the calendar.
Yep.
For us, when we see what will end up at some stage making it to Australia for the most part.
Sure. Yeah.
But that stuff's already been sorted. Like, all the companies have, realistically, they've almost signed off on just about everything for 2025, and we're only, at the time of recording this, 13 days in or 15 days in or something. So it works a little bit ahead, which it has to. But since going back to work, I've walked around a few tackle shops. I still get lost in them, mate. It's fishing tackle, like lures especially. It's just it's the best. It's the best. I've actually been doing a little bit of shopping for myself, Luke. You and I, we talked reels just between you and I over the Christmas break. We talked reels, and we were sort of comparing notes on what we wanted and what we did. Anyway, we both got reels, and that was great. And we were looking for rods. Now, I've been looking for rods too. I grabbed one today. But the question I had for you, or have for you, when you're looking for a rod and looking at purchasing a rod for whatever, it doesn't matter what aspect of fishing it is.
Yeah.
You know how it gives you the rating of, you get a line rating on it?
Yep.
And you get a lure weight rating.
Yes.
Do you give a shit about the lure weight?
Not really. It's not really no. Nah, not really. There's probably there's probably situations where I do, when I think about it, but not typically. If I'm looking at probably, do you know? Yeah,
there's only one situation I can think of.
The time where I do is when I'm looking at a 8 to 9 foot casting rod for like land-based, for things like metals and stuff, for chucking around at tailor or salmon or whatever. That's a time, because I'm looking at kind of casting metal. So you don't want to be casting a 60-gram metal on a rod that can realistically cast up to 30. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not ideal. You're probably going to snap the rod in half. But That's a situation I do, unless there's another one I can't think of. When do you?
The only time... Well, I've never done it. Or... Not for myself. I've only done it, obviously been involved in selling fishing rods to people. There was only 2 instances I can think of where I would check a weight rating on a rod, and it was mainly for surf fishermen that wanted to be casting 6-ounce sinkers.
Yeah.
It's actually amazing how many surf rods aren't weighted to actually legitimately casting a 6-ounce star sinker or grappling sinker, whatever it is. The other one was when we went through the crazy cod swim bait craze. There's guys using lures that are up to 6-7 ounces, which is ludicrous for the weight of a lure, but it's a thing. And at the time, there just wasn't many rods that were capable of throwing it comfortably. So I thought for myself this year, I know through all the forms of fishing that I enjoy doing and that I will do, I pretty well know what weight ratings I'm going to be throwing.
Right.
I'm going to ignore line ratings this year.
Interesting.
I'm going to try fishing with rods solely based on the lure weight rating.
Interesting. Okay.
I want to know if it makes a difference. So, because typically I don't particularly like ultra light, really soft tapered rods. I don't like them. I don't like the way they feel. They just don't do it for me. But one thing I do want to do this year is throw a little bit of unweighted stuff. Okay. Unweighted or really light-weighted plastics on pontoons and in snags for brim and perch and bits and pieces. It's something that I want to legitimately try.
Yeah.
I would normally just grab my normal 2 to 4 kilos, 7 foot or 6 foot 8 or 6 foot 6 and just start whipping casts in. And I'm actually going to go and buy a rod that's designed for those ultra light weights and just see if it makes a difference. I think it's going to be a massive pain in the ass. but if used in the right application, it could be a game changer.
It could be. But even when you're looking at line rating in the part, like there's still an element of it that's feel too, right? Mm-hmm. Like so, for you, it's if you were to look at the line rating and go, well, that's kind of what I'm after. You're still going to feel the rod and go, oh, it still feels like shit though.
Yeah, but it's weird though because on the opposite end of the spectrum, if you like the feel of something, say, and I always found this issue in that awkward snapper plastics or big flathead plastics that you'd pick up a rod that you think's a 3 to 6 kilo and it feels gorgeous. And you read the rating at 4 to 8 and you're like, oh, that's too heavy. Put it back.
That's true. Yeah.
So
you got it. Yeah. Sometimes you need to go off your gut feel.
Yeah. Because I think the other thing in Australia, and please, for those that live in more of the northern states that are actually dealing with fish that do something and pull some line, please get involved in this conversation because it's just not something we need to think of. So say, what about
bluefin tuna here? Let's talk like in Victoria, New South Wales, Tassie, where there's a decent run of bluefin. If you're grabbing a rod for casting stick baits or poppers, and are you comfortable going, all right, this casts this weight, which is, what this stick bait weighs, so I'm going to just grab it.
All right, let's use that example. That's because it's something that we all wrestle with, right? If say, what's the lure of the month down here, or lure for the last 12 months on these tuna? Let's use a pop queen.
Yep.
I don't know how much they weigh, but say they weigh 160 grams. I don't know if they do or not, but just say they're 160 grams. If the rod that casts 160 grams is weighted PE 4 to 5, but most of the tuna you're catching here are, say, 8 to 12 kilos, when realistically you want to be using a PE 1 to 3 or 2 to 3.
Yeah.
Are you prepared to fish with the heavier weight rating to cast the lure that you want effectively, or would you rather be a little bit average and not maximize distance or action with the rod to have more fun on the fish.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good call. Again, this is where I feel like a lot of it still comes back to feel. Like I know this is going off what we're actually talking about, but I don't know. I sit in the camp of wanting to have a bit of fun. If it's a broomstick, I'm like, oh, you know?
Me too. But would I have more fun if I'm getting more out of the lure and finding it easier? Because I'm using something weighted to throw it.
Maybe. Yeah,
because
probably.
Say you're fishing, I don't know, say you're fishing fast running water in the Murray.
Yep.
River's got a bit of flow. You need to throw a 5/8 of an ounce spinnerbait.
Yeah.
What if that rod that comfortably throws 5/8 of an ounce, what if that was like a 30-pound rod?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Are you going to take it going, I'm going to get the most out of this lure in this situation, but if I get a cod that's 55 centimeters, the rod tip might not move. But you need it. But you need it to get the most out of the lure to even get the bite. Is it that crucial? Am I overthinking the piss out of it?
Yeah.
Well, I want to find out.
Find out. Do your homework on it. I think it's an interesting one. It'll be interesting to see how many times you end up with a rod that doesn't feel all that nice once you're connected to a fish, for example. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think there's going to be a bit of that. But there's also a range. There's also a range. So, you might get a standard 2 to 4 kilo stick that I'll use every day of the week, and its range will be, say, 1/16 of an ounce to 1/8 of an ounce.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and again, that's where the taper of each individual rod's going to be different. It might feel better at 1/16 and feel a little bit sloppy at 1/8, but it could be the opposite.
Yeah.
So I
That's
think
interesting.
I think 2025 for me is going to be the year of basically one rod per lure. I have to buy a lot of fishing rods.
If that ends up the situation I'm in trouble. I can't be buying that many rods. The amount of lures that is kicking around this joint, that's that's not going to happen for me. But
it's interesting though.
If it means purely for just the test, okay, I'll go and get 17,000 rods.
Because it would be interesting. It's one thing I can honestly say I've never ever mucked around with in my history of fishing is actually taking note of what the optimum lure weight for each rod is and playing within those parameters. I could have accidentally been doing it perfectly the whole time and just have never looked.
I wonder if it's a bit of that. We spoke ages ago on the show about line rating on an actual line, on a spool of line. It's almost not redundant, but it's like realistically, a 30-pound braid these days can be as thin as 6-pound was 10 years ago, sort of thing. And it's like, does that just mean you just get heavy line because it's stronger, but it's still the same diameter type thing? So it's kind of losing its. I don't want to say. It's not becoming redundant. It's still very, very relevant, but it's like, I wonder if that's almost the case in rods too, with the development of line, but also because what I mean is, I guess if a rod says 2 to 4 kilo, line rated 2 to 4 kilo, but realistically you could get a 15 kilo braid, or maybe that's extreme, but 8 kilo braid. Are you going to then go, oh, I don't know if I can? It can't. It's not going to.
Well, the introduction of braid changed everything.
That's what I mean.
It almost made line ratings completely redundant.
Yeah. So is it the same for the rod? Like to your point, for the ratings that are on the rod, is it sort of like not as important anymore?
Well, no, not particularly, because I don't think the development of lures has changed to the point where a lure's always had a weight. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. So the weight of a lure is not. You can't get around that. That's what the weight is.
Well, that's
the
why
line rating is kind of whatever now.
Well, I could argue that the lure weight rating is 100 times more important on the fishing rod than the line rating.
That's what I'm saying. No, that's what the camp I'm in.
But in Australia or in Victoria, I won't speak for everyone because I don't know. Again, we're lucky if we find a fish that pulls drag. So please, people from up north, get involved on this conversation. Like barra fishermen out there, have you got say, fish in river barra to impoundment barra? Are the rods different? Because you're not really the lures. Fairly similar, I guess. Like, do you have to take into account, like, if you're trolling, then all of a sudden the lure weight again becomes irrelevant because how deep does it dive, how close are you running it to the boat? It pulls drag as it hits depth. It's just something that I've never ever looked at. I have my fleet of rods that I really like, and I use them regardless of what lures I'm chucking. Am I doing it wrong?
Maybe. That's good. I like that. Again, we're not landing on an answer here. You're going to have to go out.
I actually don't know. I'm going to have to try and work it out.
But do you remember, like, and I look at a couple of my sort of go-to rods now, and they're the ones I've used, for a fair chunk of time now because they're just good rods and they're trustworthy. But they were always picked up and used because, that's 3 to 6 kilo. That's 2 to 4 kilo. That's 1 to 3 kilo. So it's like they've got their place, but it's not even no thought when it goes into lure weight rating.
No, but even the line rate rating, I think that's just something we instinctively know. That's what we learn.
Yeah.
When I hear 2 to 4 kilo rod, I can almost feel exactly what a 2 to 4 kilo rod's going to feel like. So I know that it's a light application rod, and it's typically going to be within this sort of taper. I know what it's going to feel like. But what if I'm fishing a tidal bit of water and I've got to tie on a 1/6 jig head? Is my rod now way too light? Am my cast going to be 100 times more accurate because I'm fishing within the rating of the rod?
This is just the variables of fishing that we've spoken about for so many years and so many episodes on this that just makes it so great.
Oh, and you and I can test this, and I think we will. Write that down for off air.
It's episode 1 of the year, and I'm writing stuff down. Jesus.
Oh, I'm ready to go. This is going to be a big.
What are we doing? What is it? What am I writing down?
Just write down. Discuss lure weights. I've got an idea.
All right. What about? I'm just thinking of different scenarios where you might look at it, and one I probably would have. Do you remember the T-curve deep jig rods? And they had jig weight ratings. Try saying that after 17 of those beers that you're drinking, ads. And I would adhere to. I would stick to them. I remember I probably had 3 of the set at one point. There was a 100 to 200. 150 to 300. I can't remember them now.
Yeah, so there's a deep jig 200, 400, and then the introduction of a 300 later.
Yeah.
But I always memorised them off weight rating. You had a 200 at 15 kilo, a 400
Did you? Yeah.
At 24 to 37.
Something like that. Yeah.
And the 300 was like a weird mix of the both. It was like a really stiff 200.
Yeah.
And I could be wrong. It was a long time ago.
No, but yeah. And that's kind of how they were almost marketed, was like for this.
Well, jig rods they're a great example, because ever tried jigging with a 7-foot rod of the same rating?
No, but I feel like we're going to, aren't we?
I feel like it would be a little bit special. It would just be weird.
I feel like we need to do a jigging session, metal jigging, vertical jigging, with a 5'4" or whatever, your traditional 5 to 6 foot, let's call it. And then let's go a 7-footer. Then let's go an 8-footer. Then let's go a 9-footer. Can you imagine jigging with a, say, 200-gram metal jig on a 9-foot stick?
Oh, it's got pain written all over it.
Do you reckon there could be an argument that you could get a good bit of leverage in that first initial hookup where you could really pull it, like lever it away from the reef?
Can you imagine how much...
Or is it just going to bust?
Action... No, like, by the time it loads and works the jig, you'd be bringing the jig up 6 foot at a time.
Which could be good. I don't know.
Could. Well,
especially
maybe
on
you
like
would-
a flutter jig, like a slow pitch jig.
maybe it'd take a lot of the hard work out of it. Especially if you're speed jigging, you're working like a maniac because the rod's got no give and it's so short. Imagine you could just lazy, give it a lift. It's working the same speed as what a crazy 5-footer is.
That's what I mean. I reckon
Could be onto something here.
it could be extremely hard work, but fuck, let's face it, 5.5 foot jig rods on a 15 to 18 kilo kingfish is fucking hard work anyway. So I don't see how it's going to get much easier, but it might not be.
The long rod vertical with a king of that size will be a nightmare. I reckon.
I reckon I would snap a rod for sure.
Or just let go of it because it's too hard.
All right, we're doing it. I don't care what you say. At some point this year, we are doing a trip jigging, and we are taking all those rods.
We could.
Fuck,
break
why
a few
stop
rods.
at 9? Let's go surf rods.
Listen, I've got some 14'6" samples here. We'll bring that.
That's just, why not?
Obnoxious.
That's just rude.
May as well go jigging with the outrigger poles.
If we're going to do it, okay. All right. I'm all for it. I'm just making some, because I have to write shit down during the show because I'm the only one who fucking has a pen, apparently.
Yeah, well, I've called it out early.
Well, you don't exist.
Listen,
you're not even part of the show.
I just pinch hit, so I know my role.
Pinch hitter coming in off the bench.
Just come in for a quick fire, 12 to 15 off the bench and disappear.
Is it fair to say, I know we mentioned off the top that we've got stacks that you and I are doing collectively throughout the year and individually. I'm genuinely looking forward to this year. I've got so much that I'm looking forward to, and obviously a lot of that is, it's all around, or all revolves around fishing. I've just and a lot of travel. I know there's a lot of travel which could be fucking hard work, but I really want to document some of the places I go this year, and I want you guys to come along for the ride because there's been some cool people, amazing people, cool places, and I think this year I want to try and let the Deep Drop family have a sneak peek and introduce some of these cool people that we get to hang out with and spend some time with, ads.
We are lucky. Lucky. We spend a bit of time with some unbelievable fishers who are unbelievable people and go and see some places that if we weren't doing what we were doing, we just wouldn't go to. It's that simple. So it would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
And there's some big places on the list.
Oh, mate. Oh, let's not even go there because there's one place
surprise.
you're going to, and I know how excited you are, and soon, and I'm so pumped for you, but also pumped to hear about it. And
I'll learn some shit on that trip.
It could be a full episode. Just warning everyone, it could just be all. I might bring you on as a guest, Adam.
Especially, I might have to stick around for a full episode.
Maybe. Maybe. As we mentioned tackle a bit earlier, and I know you and I, that's what we live for. We love it. You're a hardcore tackle. I don't
Nerd.
Yeah. I didn't want
it.
to say it. You said it.
Yeah, no, it's good.
But we just love it. Yeah. And I just thought before we round out the show, the first step for 2025, there was some wicked launches last year. There was some really cool shit hit the market. And, I'm a bit of a sucker for lures, so I tend to get straight away drawn towards lures. There was some awesome rods and reels hit the market, which has gone nuts.
Yeah.
But I just thought, do you want to just quickly round out the show tonight with our top 5 that caught our eye from last year from a lure perspective?
Yeah, lures. Nice.
All right, let's do it. All right. Let's rip in. Mate, one of my absolute favourites from last year, and I was fortunate enough to see this particular product at iCast mid-year. So it was well before it had even hit the shores here in Australia, and talked to the team from Z-Man at the time in the States about it, and was super pumped. And it's great to see it here and absolutely popping off is the Z-Man Prawns Elite. Now, we've seen these all around the country be successful. They're super popular up north and in that northern part of Australia. 3.5 inch and a 5 inch soft prawn, basically pre-rigged. It is as lifelike as you can get. in the water. A lot of people have seen it swimming on the Z-Man socials and whatnot. But to see it kick off the way it did when it hit Australia was pretty cool. But it wasn't like a one-hit wonder. It's still going nuts now and people are frothing on it now. So that for me was one of my absolute favourites that I saw hit the market in 2024.
It must be pretty good if a Victorian is singing its praises. Because for those who have listened to the Deep Drop know, we've made it publicly clear that Victorians couldn't give a rat's ass about a prawn lure. So that's pretty good.
Pretty much. That's a fair observation too. But it did. It certainly caught my eye. I love it. And some wicked colours in the range too. So that's the first one for me. What have you got?
Well, my first one, so coming in at number 2 on the top 5, was the expansion to the range of Crush City by Rapala. Yeah. So listen, everybody knows by now I work for the company, so I'm biased, but it's the first time I got to learn the process and what goes into developing a range of lures, and I could not have been more impressed with the attention to detail.
Yeah.
Anything from... I had no idea. Up until this process of Crush City, I had no idea that depending on what you wanted to achieve in action out of any given tail, that there is different hardness and softness of TPE material, how it's affected if you inject salt. All of it needs to be done, tried and tested to see. And tip of the cap to Mick Horn, who works up there at Rapala HQ, he did not settle for anything less than perfect.
Yeah.
And it's... to see the different things you can do with one plastic has been crazy, and I think the future's pretty bright in that in that stable as well as we go into 2025.
There's something to be said for someone who is as hardcore and as talented as a fisho as Mick Horn that actually has a hand in the production, design, and all that of a product. You know it's going to be good.
and just the passion you got to appreciate, and any fisho, not just Mick, but anyone. There's plenty of guys behind the scenes through all the different companies that are designing some unbelievable fishing tackle that you'll probably never hear about. The ones that are passionate, you see it immediately. They understand what lures are supposed to do. They understand what they want them to do, and then also how to achieve it, and will not just go near enough's good enough. That's not on the cards, and it makes a massive difference to the final product.
Well, I love that you've ended that with that particular line, near enough's not good enough, because the third in the top 5 new products of 2024 is something that is exactly that. And once again, I got first eyes and hands on this particular product earlier in 2024 when I headed over to WA and fished the Abrolhos Island with Ben Patrick of Halco. Ben had spent couple of years designing what is the Laser Pro 210. Now, we know Laser Pro has been a gun lure for ever, really. Like the 160s and 190s on pelagics,
everything.
On everything,
yep.
have just been so good and so successful. When he was talking us through his literal blood, sweat, and tears that he's putting into this 210, I was like, I'm so impressed with the near enough's not good enough at all. To the point where it would just be a millimetre out from tracking straight and he would pull it, go back to the drawing board and start again. I'm like, fucking hell, that's dedication. And
the easy thing would be to just take the 160 or the one and just make it bigger. It doesn't work like that. They don't translate.
Like that.
You really think it would translate, but it doesn't. But you also need to have an eye for the story that you're trying to paint. So take the Laser Pro, for example. It needs to look like a Laser Pro. You can't...
It's got to be a Laser Pro.
It can't be 210, look like something completely different. You call it a Laser Pro 210.
No.
It's not easy. A lot of work goes into it.
And the interesting thing is it's got its differences. But as soon as you lay eyes on it, it's a Laser Pro.
Yeah, and that's
now the differences
that counts. That has to be a thing.
Some of the differences are just things like the running. It's rigged with singles, big 9.0 singles, and there's a few little componentry things like that. But there's nothing surer when you look at it. You go, that's a Laser Pro, and that's big. And since it launched at AFTA or around that time, the people that are using it are just catching fish. Like it's to the point. I remember talking to Al McGlashan recently, and he's basically almost just running them. Like he got to a point where he's like, fucking hell, these things are just dominating. So, it's not just about that. Optically they look great, visually. again, we're a bit of a sucker for big lures ads, you and I, but I do love it. I think it was an awesome addition to what is a really cool range of diving hard bodies from Halco. But yeah, hats off to that one. Ben and the Halco team did a great job. So
An Australian company.
It's
Big time.
It's a belter.
Big time. All right, well, I'll go straight into number 4 because I know we're getting towards wrap-up time. But
yeah,
number 4 is actually an overseas project from Rapala, and it was the continued growth in the Elite Series. So, listen, the Elite Series of Rapala has been around for a few years now, but essentially it's one of the few, if not one of the only, premium-grade balsa lures that you can buy just off the shelf. Generally, when you start talking about balsa, you're talking really niche, hand-carved, generally pretty expensive sort of stuff. To see the way they've taken Elite to exactly that. This day and age, you can't get away with tricks. If you call it Elite, it's got to be Elite. So premium grade balsa, all the componentry, wire through construction on majority of the models. If it's not wire through, there's also been contingencies made so that on big fish, things like bibs and things aren't pulling out. The finish. I think Rapala's got one of the best looking lures going around. I just... Even before I worked for him, it was just a fact for me.
No, I'm and I don't think anyone can argue with that. And these Elites are just next level. Like they've always been such a beautiful finish. But isn't it? Oh,
yep. And that's a project that's growing. There's now some top water lures. There's some shad divers. There's some trout lures in both the countdowns and the floaters that we've been using for a million years on the trout. It's probably more in the niche category. But I think there's some clear differences that balsa brings to the party that you don't get with plastic in certain situations where it definitely comes into its own. It's something that'll be growing further.
It's got its place, and it's just been. And you sort of associate it with Rapala, and the Elites are just an addition to a wicked range and a wicked concept as well as you mentioned. So I'm with you. Like to look at them,
I enjoyed that. Oh, they're so good. So
to look at them, just like, what are you doing to me? Like, this is going to cost me a fortune. But they're one, you know what they are? They're one that you would have to go and get back if you cast into a tree. You know, as sometimes you might be fishing a river or something and you cast deep into a tree and you go, that's not coming back.
That's gone, yeah.
And you kind of bust off going, that's not even worth looking for.
You're swimming for that. You're swimming for it. You're
swimming for an Elite. I'm not sure if they need some advertising on that, but that's a t-shirt right there. Mate, brilliant. And look, to round out, speaking of, all things hard bodies, I have to do this because I'm a massive fan of it, not just visually because they look stunning, but I've been using them recently in the last literally few weeks, and man, they are a fish-catching weapon. I'm talking about the release earlier in the year of the Molossi Micro series of lures. So just to paint a quick picture, Molossi is a fairly new brand of the market. The guys, John and Nico, brothers, they've come up with this concept, originally handcrafting timber, like bigger stick baits and poppers. So we're talking, $130 plus. So we're talking high-end stick baits, beautifully hand-painted and still doing that. But obviously had this market, and the way they talk about it is like a lot of younger kids and stuff going, I want this brand, but I can't afford that. Yeah. So I guess that was probably just one part of, but the concept of a smaller plastic hard body that is still great quality, obviously, that's first and foremost. Still got the brilliant colorways and the visual aspects of what they do, but it is very much, something that people from all levels and of fishing can achieve and get. And they've dropped in basically there's a minnow, a popper, and a little pencil bait. And I've been really impressed with them, how they're actually working. You know what I love? Maybe this says something about me. I hate having to work too hard when I'm fishing with a, walk the dog style pencil, stick bait, whatever you want to call it. And their version of it, I can genuinely, hand on heart, say you don't have to try too hard to impart that action. You just do it subtly with your rod tip in it, and it walks beautifully across the surface of the water. So much so that just the other night got absolutely smashed to bits by some estuary perch. which is pretty cool, and it's a pretty sure sign that they work all right.
Definitely.
The minnows swim beautifully. But yeah, again, the colourways, the nice tight range that they've put together, I think for me, when that launched very late in the year, I was pumped about. I thought that looks great. They've done an awesome job. So the micro series of Molossi hard bodies is for me the way to round out that top 5 ads.
I love it. And didn't they burst onto the scene at AFTER last year?
Oh mate, rock stars.
They were the talk of the show.
Yeah. Yeah, look,
for all the right reasons.
All the right reasons. Talk about good dudes, and you know, we've said it heaps of times, Adam. Our industry is full of good people, and I think that's what's really great about it. I don't think you last long if you're a bit of a dickhead.
Yeah, that's right.
In fact, you don't last long.
You don't.
These guys have hit the scene fairly new, I guess, to the fishing tackle space, and have taken in their stride. So the world's their oyster if they want to keep having a crack, and I think they will. John, who is one of the brothers that runs and designs all the lures, is keen to jump on the podcast ads. So we're going to have him on one night for a chat. I'm sure you'll have a cheeky beer or two with us and just chat about it. Because I always find it interesting hearing from whether it's a startup in any industry, but particularly something that obviously we're a part of is fishing tackle, and kind of find out a bit about why and you know what the drive is, because it's not hard. No,
not easy at all.
I've thought about the platypus swim bait a lot.
Yeah,
and I'm not sure I'm ready to get into this market.
I still stand by it though.
Mate,
in theory,
you cannot tell me that wouldn't work. Don't even try. Do we get Molossi to do it?
Hey, write it down.
Write it down. We'll just put it to him on the spot. He won't be able to say no. Hey, mate, I'm pretty satisfied with 2025 and the way we've kicked it off on the deep drop. The most important thing for you and I, and we spoke about this off air when we caught up over the Christmas break, is we want to hear more and more from you guys at home or in your car, on your way to work, on your way home from work, or while you're working. Just keep in touch. Instagram's the easiest place to do it. You can jump on the website and flick us an email if you like. But we just want to hear from you guys. This is all about us as a whole. It's not about Adam and I. It's not about, people that we have on the show. It is about everyone who is in some way, shape or form engaged with this podcast. And we thank you all for it. And it's going to be a big year. And you're all coming along for the ride, baby.
Massive year. Lock it in.
Lock it in. Well, ads, for the first time for 2025, I'm going to throw to you and say goodnight to everyone and leave you to do your thing. So see you soon.
Peace.